There's something terrifying about getting exactly what you've always wanted. You've worked for years toward this moment, dreamed about it, planned for it, and now that it's finally within reach, you feel paralyzed. Your heart races not with excitement but with dread. You find excuses to delay, reasons to doubt, ways to convince yourself you're not ready. Maybe you've been here before, standing at the threshold of success only to find yourself backing away at the last moment. If this sounds familiar, Carl Jung would tell you something that might surprise you. You're not afraid of failure. You're afraid of success. And that fear isn't weakness or self-doubt. It's your unconscious mind trying to protect you from something it believes is dangerous. Today, we're going to explore why the very thing you want most might be the thing you fear most, and how this ancient protective mechanism keeps you trapped in a life smaller than the one you're meant to live. Carl Jung understood something profound about human psychology that most success coaches completely miss. The unconscious mind doesn't distinguish between psychological and physical threats. To your unconscious, stepping into a bigger version of yourself can feel as dangerous as stepping off a cliff. Jung discovered that we all carry what he called an unconscious fear of our own potential, not because we're weak, but because expansion requires leaving behind everything familiar. He wrote that we fear our light more than our darkness because our darkness is known, predictable, manageable, but our light, our full potential, that's uncharted territory. And to the unconscious mind, uncharted territory equals danger. This is why you can simultaneously want something desperately and sabotage it unconsciously. Your conscious mind sees success as safety, but your unconscious mind sees it as abandonment of everything you've used to define yourself. Meet Elena, a 28-year-old graphic designer whose portfolio could land her a position at any top creative agency in the city. Her work is extraordinary, the kind that makes other designers stop scrolling and stare. She's been freelancing for 3 years, building a reputation that has creative directors reaching out to her almost weekly with offers that would transform her career. But here's what nobody understands. Every time a real opportunity presents itself, Elena finds a way to make herself unavailable. She tells herself she's not ready, that her portfolio needs more work, that she should wait for the perfect opportunity. Last month, she turned down an interview at her dream agency because she convinced herself her best pieces weren't good enough. Her friends see self-doubt, but the pattern runs deeper than that. Elena has spent years perfecting the art of staying small, of being talented enough to be noticed but not so successful that she has to fundamentally change who she is. She's terrified not of failing but of succeeding so completely that she becomes unrecognizable to herself and everyone who loves her current version. Elena's fear of success didn't develop overnight. It was carefully constructed through years of subtle programming that taught her that staying small was safer than standing out. Growing up, she watched her mother's dreams of becoming a writer slowly suffocate under the weight of practical responsibilities. She saw how her father's ambitions to start his own business ended in financial stress that nearly broke their family. Elena learned an unconscious lesson. Big dreams lead to big disappointments, and big disappointments destroy families. Her artistic talent was celebrated, but only as a hobby, never as a viable path to security. She internalized the belief that creativity and success were mutually exclusive, that choosing one meant betraying the other. Now every opportunity for real success activates this ancient programming. Her unconscious mind whispers, if you become too successful, you'll become the kind of person who abandons family values for ambition. If you outgrow your current life, you'll lose everyone who loves you as you are. So she stays exactly successful enough to feel talented, but not so successful that she has to confront these deeper fears. Jung identified this pattern as what he called the fear of individuation, the psychological process of becoming who you truly are rather than who others expect you to be. Elena's unconscious mind has created an elaborate defense system designed to keep her from outgrowing her current identity. Every time success approaches, her internal alarm system activates. She suddenly remembers all the reasons she's not ready, all the ways she might fail, all the people who might be disappointed if she changes. This isn't logical thinking, it's primitive survival programming that equates growth with danger. The unconscious mind that once protected her from her parents' disappointment now protects her from her own potential. It creates anxiety around opportunity, perfectionism around her work, and doubt around her worthiness. Jung understood that this mechanism serves a purpose. It keeps you connected to your tribal identity, your family system, your known world, but it also keeps you trapped in a version of yourself that's smaller than who you're meant to become. The very mechanism that once kept you safe now keeps you stuck. The breakthrough came when Elena finally missed an opportunity she couldn't rationalize away. The creative director of her absolute dream agency had seen her work at a local gallery and offered her a senior designer position on the spot. No interview, no portfolio review, just pure recognition of her talent. Instead of feeling excited, Elena felt terror. She asked for time to think about it and spent 3 days creating reasons why she shouldn't take it. She was about to decline when her best friend asked a simple question: "What are you actually afraid of?" For the first time, Elena stopped and really considered this. She realized she wasn't afraid of failing at the job. She was confident in her abilities. She was afraid of succeeding, afraid of becoming the kind of person who worked at prestigious agencies, afraid of outgrowing her close-knit circle of friends, afraid of discovering that success might change her in ways she couldn't predict or control. In that moment, Elena recognized that her fear wasn't protecting her from professional failure, it was protecting her from personal transformation. And for the first time, she asked herself, what if transformation isn't something to fear, but something to embrace? I want you to pause here and think about your own relationship with success. What opportunities have you talked yourself out of? What dreams have you deferred indefinitely? What achievements have you sabotaged just when they were within reach? More importantly, what are you actually afraid will happen if you succeed completely? Is it the fear of failure, or is it the fear of becoming someone you don't recognize? Sometimes the most radical thing we can do is admit that we're scared not of our limitations but of our potential. Share in the comments below, what success are you afraid to pursue, and what do you think you're really protecting yourself from? Your honesty might help someone else recognize their own patterns of self-limitation. Jung's approach to healing the fear of success wasn't about forcing yourself to be brave or pushing through the fear. It was about understanding that the fear serves a purpose and honoring that purpose, while gradually expanding your sense of who you can become. Elena began working with a therapist who understood Jung's concepts of individuation. Instead of trying to eliminate her fear, she began dialoguing with it. What was this fear trying to protect her from? What did it need to feel safe enough to let her grow? She discovered that her unconscious mind needed reassurance that success wouldn't mean abandoning her values, her relationships, or her authentic self. Elena started taking small steps toward the bigger opportunities while consciously maintaining her connections to what mattered most to her. She realized she could be successful and still be herself, that growth didn't require betrayal of her origins. The fear began to transform from a wall into a wise counselor, helping her pursue success in ways that honored both her potential and her values. 6 months later, Elena had not only taken the position at the prestigious agency, but had also maintained the relationships and values that mattered most to her. She discovered that success didn't require becoming someone else, it required becoming more fully herself. Her work at the agency was groundbreaking precisely because she brought her authentic perspective rather than trying to fit into someone else's mold. She found ways to mentor younger designers from backgrounds similar to her own, honoring her roots while embracing her growth. Her family, initially worried that success would change her, came to see that it had actually allowed her to express parts of herself that had been hidden. Elena learned that the fear of success often masks a deeper fear, the fear that we'll have to betray who we are to become who we're meant to be. But Jung's wisdom proved true. Individuation isn't about becoming someone else, it's about becoming more authentically yourself. The person she feared she might become with success was actually the person she'd always been underneath the layers of protective limitation. Elena's story reflects a pattern Jung observed across all areas of human potential. We fear success in relationships because deep connection might reveal our vulnerability. We fear financial success because wealth might separate us from our community. We fear creative success because recognition might expose us to criticism. We fear spiritual growth because enlightenment might alienate us from those who can't follow. Each fear contains a grain of truth. Success does change you. But Jung understood that this change isn't betrayal of your authentic self. It's the revelation of your authentic self. The person you're afraid of becoming with success is often the person you've always been but have been too afraid to express. Success doesn't corrupt, it reveals. It doesn't change your essential nature. It provides the platform for your essential nature to flourish. The key is learning to pursue success in ways that honor rather than abandon your deepest values, that expand rather than replace your sense of identity. The journey of embracing success while maintaining authenticity isn't a destination, it's an ongoing practice. Elena still feels moments of fear when new opportunities arise, still hears the voice that questions whether she deserves the success she's achieved. The difference now is that she recognizes these voices as old programming rather than current truth. She's learned to feel the fear without being paralyzed by it, to acknowledge the protective impulse while choosing growth anyway. Jung called this the ongoing work of consciousness, constantly choosing the bigger version of yourself while staying connected to your core values. It requires vigilance because the unconscious mind's protective mechanisms don't disappear, they simply become more subtle. The goal isn't to eliminate the fear of success but to dance with it consciously, to use its wisdom while not being limited by its caution. This is the art of growing into your potential while remaining rooted in your truth. So here's what I want you to understand. If you're afraid of your own success, you're not broken, weak, or self-sabotaging. You're human. You're being protected by an unconscious mind that learned to associate growth with danger, expansion with abandonment, success with betrayal of your authentic self. But that protection, while once necessary, may now be limiting you from becoming who you're truly meant to be. The success you're afraid of isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. It's about expressing the potential that's been waiting inside you, not despite your values but because of them. You don't have to choose between success and authenticity, between growth and connection, between achievement and integrity. You can have all of it, but only if you're willing to face the fear and discover what's on the other side. If you're ready to stop being afraid of your own potential and start embracing it, write in the comments, "I choose growth over safety." Let's build a community of people who are done playing small and ready to step into the fullness of who they are. And if you want to continue exploring Jung's wisdom about becoming your authentic self, subscribe to this channel, because the world doesn't need you to stay small to feel safe. The world needs you to become as big as your potential allows.